Good evening, Des Moines. Welcome to the Doc and Lefty program here on webcast1live.com and docandlefty.com. This is Lefty coming to you, as always, with the perspectives you love from the sides you hate. And with me across the table is the ace whose political base is a pure waste of space, Doc Bertroche. Doc,
man.
how's it going?
Did you use the whole week to think that one up? You know, I'm crooked.
6 minutes.
It looks like I'm on the left side of the TV. I don't know if I can take that.
6 minutes. 6 minutes it took me to come up with that as on the ride here.
I mean, you spent an entire six minutes.
Hey, man.
Last week?
No,
Or this week?
on the
Just
drive
now?
on the drive to the office, and don't discount 6 minutes. And lawyer talk, that's worth $18 to me.
Yeah, well, see, if you're a real lawyer, that would have been a 15-minute consult, which would have been $100. Let me go over the billing status with you after the show.
Free initial consultations, man. I'm trying to be competitive here, run a business.
So how was your gig?
I gotta say, I'm having an interesting September. I played a solo show at Saints in West Des Moines, one of my favorite places to play ever. And I had the honor of being the last guy to play for their outdoor patio season. Now that the weather's getting a little cooler, they move things inside over the fall and the winter months. But I played out there last week, and then this past Saturday I did another solo gig at Mickey's in Waukee, and I never played at Mickey's Waukee before. And it made me feel really cool because the guy that does all the gigs out there called me to have me come out. I'd never met him, never talked to him. He got my name from somebody else. So
oh wow! So you're developing a reputation.
Made me feel pretty cool, and he called me back today to throw. Unfortunately I wasn't able to do. I've got a private show here at the end of the month that I'd be double booked on.
Yep.
But it was cool. I'll tell you what. I played from 9 p.m. to 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
4 hours. And
it's a long gig.
It is a long gig. And I got home and I said to my fiance, "Hey, I can see a little bit where these musicians get addicted to painkillers because my back was killing me." I don't know. For you younger people in your teens and your 20s, you don't understand. When you get to your early 30s, especially when you got a guitar strapped to your back, standing up, being a little overweight the way that I am. Yes. Okay, a lot overweight the way that I am. Well, it takes a toll on your lower back. It really does.
Plus, when you play, I've watched you play. You bang that leg up and down a lot, so that can help you.
I do.
Speaking of playing and banging things around, Ray Rice.
Oh no!
Nobody can stop talking about this guy. Now, I'm gonna throw out my opinion. Then I'm gonna ask Lefty what his is.
Yeah.
He did the crime. He was punished. Right. The NFL knew. I mean, the NFL knew. He knocked out his girlfriend, spit on her, drug her out of the elevator, and they went, "Gosh, that's bad. We're going to suspend you for 2 games." And then, he made a plea bargain, which is, can be typical. He went into a diversion program. He hadn't, from what I know, he hadn't been in trouble before, and everything seemed to be good until TMZ released the video. Now, here's my thing. What difference does that video make? It doesn't make any difference. I mean, honest, he knocked his girlfriend out. She married him, so she couldn't testify. He went in a diversion program.
Well, she could if she wanted to.
Well, she could, but now she's not forced to. Is that correct?
The spousal privilege can be waived.
Yeah, but
she can't be compelled to testify against him.
And that's what they were trying to avoid.
She could testify if she wanted to.
So why does suddenly the Ravens give him the boot? Because they already knew what he'd done. He'd already served his time. He was still on probation. He hadn't violated anything since that time. Why is the NFL going, well, you're permanently banned?
Well, they didn't say that. They just suspended him indefinitely.
Well, that's the same thing. So the bottom line is what's different now than then? And the only thing that's different is PR. So this is completely cynical of the NFL's part. If they really wanted people out of the league that were like that, this all would have happened at the moment that he had the plea bargain. The moment he pleaded guilty to it and went into a diversion program, this all should have happened. For me, this smacks of double jeopardy. What's your opinion on this?
Well, figuratively speaking, it's obviously not double jeopardy, but I'll tell you this. I saw this thought. I had this thought when it first happened. I'm having it now, but I saw it expressed on another website that I can't remember when I read it. When it first happened, when the incident first came up and the decision was made to suspend him, the NFL did the wrong thing for the right reason. You smack somebody around, they gave him a slap on the wrist, two game suspension. They did, which is wrong. That's wrong. You knock your wife out, you drag her through the hallway. It was brutal. The first video that came out was bad enough. Gave him a 2-game suspension, but it was for the right reason because it was per their policy. The new video comes out that Roger Goodell claims to have never seen, that other key officials claim to have never seen, although there were plenty of emails and memos back and forth that would give them the lie in that regard. And so now they've got to cover their tracks. The media pressure is ratcheted up to 100. Yeah. They got to try and make like they have to make like they cared about this victim in the first place, which they obviously did not. And so they did the right thing for the wrong reason. He should have been cut from the team and kicked and banned from football or given an indefinite suspension. The minute this comes out, you don't do that stuff. And the NFL made the statement, because remember, this is kind of the same time that the Josh Gordon suspension comes down, that they would rather have domestic abusers in the NFL than people who smoke marijuana.
Yes, and that's true. Now, I think part of this is this thug life stuff that's going on. Aaron Hernandez is part of this. That's always been around, at least for the last 15 years, as far back as I can remember. So you always had this problem coming on. If you want to make your image squeaky clean, put a moral turpitude clause in these contracts.
There probably is, though. I mean, I think that's probably why they cut him, because he had a contract.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. So I mean,
but the moral turpitude clause is you can't bring shame onto the organization type of thing.
Right.
Not, geez, if you go out and beat up your wife, you're off the team thing.
But you can't have but if his player's contract says, I get so much money and play for this organization for this many years, then unless I do something else, if this violated a condition of that contract, then they can cut him. If not, whatever their liability of cutting him was. But he should have been suspended. He should have been cut immediately. And I'll tell you, the ham-fisted response to concussions, to the marijuana policy, to this policy makes Roger Goodell look like an idiot.
Yes.
In the wake of the Donald Sterling fiasco, it makes Adam Silver, the NBA, look, and also the hiring of the first woman coach in San Antonio, makes the NBA look like the progressive sort of moral rectitude league.
Yes.
And I kind of think that if the NFL keeps running the ship like this, the NBA is, well, not to compare the two, but they keep running the ship like this, they're going to have really a lot of problems in the future. A lot of problems. Other than I kind of think the NFL, although, let me get this straight, folks. I don't really follow the NFL anymore. I don't care about it anymore. I'm doing fantasy football this year because I got kind of talked into it again.
Megatron.
He beat me.
Oh, good.
He beat
you always
my first
draft Megatron.
No,
and
I tried
Drew
to.
Brees.
I tried to.
Sell your soul, dude.
I had him last year and he was awesome. He was not very good for me last year. But anyway, we won't get in. This isn't the NFL podcast.
This is what we do when we get to talking to the treat.
But here's the thing about my relationship with football. I love the Iowa Hawkeyes. I was an Iowa Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I was in the marching band. I love Iowa Hawkeye football. I think that football as a sport's on its way out. I think the NFL is a dead man walking organization with billions and billions of dollars because they can't solve the fundamental problem of how to adequately protect their players and maintain the integrity of the game. And at some point in the future, the safety of the players is going to become paramount.
Yeah.
And parents aren't going to be sending their kids to play football.
Well, in the break, I'll tell you what's going to save football. We're going to be back right after this break. After this next segment, we're going to be talking about Judge Michael Posner. Isn't that
Richard
Posner, who is a conservative judge who has slowly over time reversed his stance on same-sex marriage. We'll be talking about that. We want to thank all of our sponsors, Bertrosian Associates, Lubinas Law Firm, Halo Capital, Des Moines Anesthesia. We want you to follow us on talkinglefty.com, Facebook, oh my goodness, and Twitter. I'm glad the break's coming up. We'll be back here in a minute.
Bertrosian Associates, how can I help you? Bertroche and Associates will provide you with a friendly, caring, and confidential place to find help for mental health concerns. We are ready for your call. Our doctor, Dr. J. Patrick Bertroche, provides a full range of psychiatric services for children, adolescents, and adults in a forthright and informative manner while maintaining a casual, comfortable, and relaxed atmosphere.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. We're talking my favorite topic here. I can't wait to get into this. We're talking legal theory. We're talking jurisprudence.
He's all greased up and ready to go.
I love it. We're in my neighborhood, and I guarantee that at the end of this conversation, we're going to have a few texts from your brother Joe, and probably maybe a few phone calls about why I'm all wet on this topic and why I'm an idiot and don't know the first thing about the law and how Doc won the argument. I'm fully prepared. I'm fully prepared for that. I deal with irrational, deluded people all the time. I can't wait.
You hang out with Democrats. You can't help it.
Well, you know, a lot of the people that I represent probably voted Republican. Anyway.
It's just one interesting statistic. I was given a lecture this winter on serial killers. And one of the interesting things that I stumbled across is 80% of serial killers vote Republican.
80%?
80%. Now, I don't know. Well, I know how they got it. You know, you get a serial killer, you ask him how he voted, he tells you how he voted.
Right.
That's how they got it.
Well, that's got to be because of the area of the country, though. Serial killers anymore are localized in the South and the southeast of the country, like Florida, Georgia, right?
No, they're all over. One of the Green River killers out of the Northeast. Or excuse me, Northwest.
Yeah. Right, but he's older. I'm talking about. Well, I don't know.
They're everywhere. I can tell you just from my own gut feeling, those poor girls in Evansdale, that's the work of a serial killer. I mean, they happen to. Anyway, that's not the subject
right.
of this.
We should probably talk about. Let's talk about serial killers next week. I
want an upbeat thing like. I don't know. Criminal
Minds is one of the most popular television shows in the country.
That's true. Anyway, let's get back to Michael Posner.
Richard Posner.
Richard.
Judge Richard Posner. He's a circuit court judge of the Circuit Court of Appeals for the 7th District. That's Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan.
Bunch of others.
Just that there are neighbors are direct neighbors to the east. Iowa's in the 8th Judicial District, Iowa, Missouri, Minnesota, I believe. Anyway, I won't name all. I'll bore you with the names of the states, but Richard Posner has been he's been a rock star judge in the sense he's one of the only Court of Appeals judges anybody could name who's not in the field.
Yeah.
Right. He's a national. He's a national figure. He publishes a lot. He writes a lot of legal theory, and in a lot of ways, he's been compared to a modern day learned hand who was a famous judge out of New York. I think the 2nd Judicial District, if I'm not mistaken, from the 30s, who did a lot of the same kind of thing. He's a really smart guy. When we talk about conservative, we're talking mainly his economic
theory.
Yep. He's a capitalist. He wrote a book called A Failure of Capitalism about the financial crisis from 2007 that took a lover of capitalists' take on how this was an abuse of capitalism. I mean, he's the guy that fiscal conservatives really like. I happen to really like Richard Posner as a judge, not necessarily because of the way he comes down in his opinions a lot of the time, but it's a similar reason why I like Scalia. He writes really well. I read a 40-page Court of Appeals decision this morning in about 20 minutes because it was easy to read, not simplistic,
but easy to read.
Easy, just straightforward, not a lot of jargon. I would recommend everybody read it. But on Friday, the 5th, he came down with a decision or maybe this is the fourth, I don't remember, came to a decision in 2 cases, one from Indiana, one from Wisconsin, collectively known as Baskin v. Hogan et al. I think the Wisconsin case was Wolf v. Walker. I think Scott Walker's the governor there. And it was an appeal from each of the states appealing district court rulings that went against the state in challenges to each state's ban on same-sex marriage. Indiana has a statute. Wisconsin, interestingly enough, has a state constitutional amendment.
Good.
Which is interesting. So both courts ruled against the state in both instances, and the states appealed. And Posner, in an opinion that encompassed both cases, affirmed the decision of the district court, saying that there was no rational basis for either Wisconsin or Indiana to maintain a ban on same-sex marriage. So we can dive into a little bit about the implications of overturning a constitutional amendment elected by the legislature, by the states. We could talk about that. But the interesting thing about it is Posner, in a ruling in 97, did not refuse to decide a same-sex marriage case, or in commenting on a similar case that was declined to be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court, said, look, there probably is not a fundamental right to marry or to same-sex marriage guaranteed by the Constitution. I'm not really going to decide anything on those grounds, but he did say, interestingly enough, that if public opinion were to kind of move in that direction, that principles of constitutional law would have to evolve to keep up.
Well, but the thing is, and I'm not a constitutionalist, or I am a constitutionalist, but I'm not a lawyer, obviously. But if you base your decisions on public opinion, then why not just have a poll, and then that's how your decision is made? You have to have the decision made from somewhere. Now I've said it several times, gay marriage is not my fight. It's not my fight. But I do believe, and I've said this before, you cannot deny constitutional rights to a group of individuals. And we've gone over that several times.
Well, so he wasn't really making I don't think he was making the argument that that's how, and that's certainly not how he bases his decisions. Because if he cared about the polling in Indiana and Wisconsin with respect to same-sex marriage, I think that he would find maybe not even a majority, but a significant plurality of people that disagreed with what he decided. So he's not worried necessarily about public polls, but I think the point he was making in 97 was a cynical one, saying, hey, look, constitutional or judges that decide or interpret things in the Constitution, oftentimes it's as a result of some kind of political pressure, as a result of a movement in the country. We saw that the inklings of that in the Brown v. Board of Education decision, where even though that was in the 50s, before the official start of the civil rights movement, there was already that building pressure to kind of move in that direction. Justices have sort of that's a feature. I don't think he was saying that's how it should be. He's saying that was the reality of it.
Mind if I have the last word on this?
Absolutely.
All right. Now I'm gonna say that from at least over the last 20 years, and from the time when I was a kid, the gay marriage movement has been a rebranding of homosexuality, and they have done an excellent job of it. If you look on, you can't watch any show today without lesbianism or homosexuality coming to the forefront. And, I miss the good old days. You had John Wayne and the rest of it, and you didn't have to worry about it. So they've done an excellent job of rebranding. And if Christian conservatives want what they want, they had better start rebranding themselves. Because right now it's very easy to go, well, you're the wacky ones. But it was a concerted effort over a period of time. It was like bending ice. There's a YouTube video of somebody bending ice. Go watch it. That's exactly how the homosexual community rebranded itself. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back right after this break. We're going to talk about latest poll numbers in the Senate race. We're going to talk about the attack ads in the Senate race. And we also want to thank our sponsors, Petrosian Associates, Lubinas Law Firm, Halo Capital, Des Moines Interest Rates.com is where Halo Capital's at. Des Moines Anesthesia. Don't forget to follow us on social media everywhere. We'll be back right after this break.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
See them here, see them there. You got bad credit? We don't care.
Visit emetroford.com for your guaranteed credit approval. Good credit, bad credit, no credit. Everybody drives with guaranteed credit approval at emetroford.com. Visit emetroford.com today.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. We are talking about the midterms are coming up. It's September 9th today. That means we've got less than a month before Election Day in November, which I would pull out my calendar and figure out the exact date to tell everybody to make sure that you all go and vote, or better yet, make sure that you get your mail-in ballots and early vote, especially if you're voting Democratic, since we have a better ground game in that regard than the Republicans do, because we've got to try and stave off the barbarians at the gates as far as Republican takeover of not just the U.S. Senate, but also the Iowa Senate. And to that end, we're talking Iowa politics. We're talking the Senate race. We're going to talk about the 3rd district race here with David Young, Stacey Apple, and whatever else my partner's heart desires in that regard. Now, the first thing that I noticed, folks, I don't have traditional TV anymore. I canceled my DirecTV subscription back in February.
Blasphemy.
I did. I really did. And I'll tell you, it makes watching Hawkeye football really tough. But I can't cancel the DirecTV subscription back in February. Haven't really missed it at all. But I do watch Netflix and Hulu. Especially Hulu, a lot of political ads and a lot of ad buys in the Senate race. Bruce Braley, I remember the Bruce Braley ad that I saw was the 2 guys in the smoky room, essentially incoherent, trying to kind of wink and nod at everybody. I understood it, but that's because I'm a cynical jerk. I don't know if a lot of other non-cynical jerks would have really got what that ad was trying to drive at. A lot of Joni Ernst attack ads on Bruce Braley, and maybe not surprisingly, not paid for by the campaigns. A lot of outside Iowa spending.
Dark money.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, dark money.
Dark money spending in this race. The Senate race has got a lot of national coverage.
Yep.
But Doc, what were your thoughts?
Well, here's my thoughts. It's going to get dirty, and I'm going to show you while Lefty recovers from his coughing
sorry about
fit.
that.
Yeah, that's all right. What I have seen has been a lot of different kind of, basically what it is the typical Democratic attack ads coming, using a lot of falsehoods, using a lot of stretched truth, stuff like that, versus Joni Ernst running and I'm talking about the Senate race, Joni Ernst running a, hi, aren't I a great gal, vote for my personality kind of thing. That's terrific. I'm glad you're doing that. It's good for you. But the bottom line is, according to the latest poll, you're 4 points behind. Now, that's almost within the margin of error, and that was the Loras College poll, Loras College. And, they, of course, completely... they weren't all that accurate in the congressional race. But the bottom line is Joni Ernst has to get on the stick, start launching some attack ads, because the negative ads are not going, are helping Bruce Braley and are not going to help her if she maintains the high road. You can ask anybody. You can ask Mitt Romney. You can ask Governor Nussel. You can ask anybody, right? The bottom line is she's going to have to start really getting out there and punching hard, because she's running this personal campaign. Now, it may pay off in the long run, but we've seen it time and time again. If you're running a personal attack ad, that's going to be good. If you're running dirt, it's going to be good. Now, I've analyzed a couple of the commercials that are out there, and I did a PolitiFact check. PolitiFact.com is where I chose it. The two commercials I reviewed, PolitiFact said it was Bruce Braley attack ad on Joni Ernst. Both of them says they're probably not true. And on the attack ads that Joni Ernst ran, they said one part of it was true, one part of it probably was not true, and then the other one was true. And the one that I was looking at was he skips the VA, the Bruce Braley skips all the VA meetings. Maddie, do you have a commercial queued up? We're going to watch a commercial here real quick, and we're going to, Lefty and I are going to tell you what we think about it afterwards. Are we ready to go? All right, here it is.
Okay, who's next?
Iowa. Ernst.
We got her to pledge?
Joni signed on the line. The tax breaks that thing protects are gold. Green light, more outsourcing. China, Mexico, all the way.
She isn't worried about Iowa jobs?
Oh. Never mind that. Joni Ernst is with us.
Any chance she'll back out?
When pigs fly.
Next Gen Climate Action Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
All right. Now, I think that's the one you reviewed, you were talking about. That looks like it.
That was.
And that's actually one that I looked up on PolitiFact. That's one of the ones that said it was false. One of the things that's going around out there is she signed a tax pledge that says, I don't want to raise new taxes. And she's taking a lot of heat because they're extrapolating from there. Well, you're going to want to ship jobs overseas. You're going to protect all the tax breaks. The climate change people were all over about, well, now you're going to eliminate our loopholes for alternative energy. And none of that's true. What's true is she signed a tax pledge that says, I want to keep our taxes as low as we can. I'm going to vote to not increase taxes for certain groups. And then specify groups, just groups in general, special interests. So what's your take on that? And by the way, I think that's very cleverly done. I think it's a cleverly done ad that's very subtle.
I think, well, it's too subtle. I think that ad is terrible.
Ah, okay.
I think it's terrible. I think it's too tongue in cheek.
1 minute.
I think that that whoever the PAC is that did this was looking to do sort of a like the hands ad from Strom Thurmond, or or the thing against Michael Dukakis that was so effective that Ronald Reagan ran. The revolving door ad, trying to do something like that to kind of scare some people, and it's just silly. It's silly. You don't know what we got her to sign, and I didn't. And I'll tell you this: I didn't like. Maybe I'm too sensitive in this regard, but I didn't like the way he said her name.
Oh yeah,
I didn't like it.
Well,
it sounded kind of sneery to me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't punch hard at your opponent, metaphorically speaking. But you shouldn't refer to them in a disrespectful manner. And I felt the way that he said her name was disrespectful. Now, I happen to think that a lot of the accusations against her made by the Bruce Braley campaign have been true. She did say she didn't support a national minimum wage. She said that. And she has tried her best to backpedal and try to soften that blow. But it's true that she said that. Yeah. And which is really unpopular nationwide. But I think that Braley has been respectful. You don't call a Senate candidate by his or her first name in that way. Yeah, I didn't like agree. That part of it.
All right. So Lefty didn't like that commercial. I thought it was effective for me. So we're going to take another break. We'll be back after this. We're going to analyze more ads. We're going to talk about the Loras College poll and other polls that have been coming out. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back right after this break. Stay tuned. Please listen for our sponsors.
Bertroche and Associates will provide you with a friendly, caring, and confidential place to find help for mental health concerns. We are ready for your call. We are proud to work with military personnel and their families. Our doctor, Dr. J. Patrick Bertroche, provides a full range of psychiatric services for children, adolescents, and adults in a forthright and informative manner while maintaining a casual, comfortable, and relaxed atmosphere. Our licensed mental health therapists provide individual counseling to children, adolescents, and adults, including couples and marital counseling. Visit our website at bertrocheandassociates.com for more information or call 515-334-9484. Our offices are located at 5525 Meredith Drive in Des Moines, just east of Skate North off Merle Hay Road. Isn't it time to talk to someone? Take care of yourself and your family. Contact Bertroche and Associates.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for the first half hour. We're talking the Senate race. We're talking Senate campaign ads. We just watched one that a PAC supporting Bruce Braley released. I don't think it was a Bruce Braley endorsed advertisement, and that's the problem with all this dark money. Now we're going to watch an ad that you lead it in.
Well, this ad is from Bruce Braley attacking. I don't think it's from Bruce Braley. Isn't mad, but it's an attack ad. All right. Well, we're going to play the ad because now I'm confused. So play the ad. We had it down at the commercial break. I promise.
No one likes it when politicians give special favors. Congressman Bruce Braley voted for Obamacare. The government spent millions of taxpayer dollars to promote it. Now, health insurance companies stand to make billions. And Bruce Braley? He takes tens of thousands from his friends in the health insurance industry. For Iowans, it's canceled policies and higher costs. That's not right. Call Bruce Braley. Tell him, stand with Iowa. Stop supporting Obamacare.
All right. I think that's a pretty direct to the point commercial. I think it's a very good commercial. It outlines exactly what's going on, what their position is, what his position is. So I think that was a fairly effective commercial. I like how they put the where they got the quotes from, their sources in there. I thought that was a fairly effective vote. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about effectiveness of advertising.
Effectiveness of advertising, then we can attack whether or not it was true.
I mean, I think that the ad is I would say it's pretty well produced. I would say that I don't know, I'm so tied into this kind of stuff that it's hard for me to separate
the stuff.
Yeah, because it's just, I mean,
well, he did vote for Obamacare.
Sure.
They did spend close to $700 million advertising for Obamacare.
Sure.
So, he voted for that.
Which is about what George Bush did when Medicare Part D came out. So maybe the point is that's not unprecedented.
But the point is you keep bringing up Bush.
No.
And you just brought him up. It doesn't matter what Bush did. We're talking about what Braley voted for here.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's okay when Bush does it. But it's not okay when a Democrat does it.
I'm saying that when you're talking about fiscal responsibility and you attack him on that, say, listen, he was not fiscally responsible. Mm-hmm. When you have insurance premiums go up, these are things that are true. These are things that are true. The bottom line is, what insurance premiums are going up. Iowans have their insurance canceled from it.
Some did.
All right.
Most didn't.
But you see the final numbers aren't out yet, but there's a lot more that lost their insurance or had to go to Obamacare because of the way the law is written than anybody that got new.
And got coverage that was better for them. See, that's the thing that you Republicans won't admit.
Well, but now you're talking to a doctor. Now you're talking to a doctor that has to see this day in and day out. People come in and say, I lost my insurance. What do I do now? Well, go to Obamacare. I can't afford what Obamacare is, and I'm not getting the subsidy I'm supposed to have. I deal with that all the time. I only had 2 people come in and say, I got this great thing off of an Obamacare website. Most of the other stories are, I lost my insurance. They're not paying for stuff. That's part of the problem. Spending $700 million is still factually accurate. People losing their insurance is still factually accurate. That's the
but it doesn't tell the whole story. And the fact of the matter is,
how are you going to tell the whole story in 30 seconds?
Hey, that's a very good question.
And that's
so
part
maybe
of the
you
problem.
shouldn't make half-true statements in political advertising. You saw the same thing in the Braley ad. So let's not talk about Saint Joni here, okay?
She is a saint. She's a saint to the right wing, you know. And speaking of the right wing, this is how they're going to start targeting Joni Ernst. And I saw several headlines yesterday and today comparing Joni Ernst to being a little Sarah Palin, or to being the next Sarah Palin, or a little mini-me Sarah Palin. I mean, those were headlines. So that's going to be the next attack that she's just scared to.
Well, and that if the Republicans hadn't gotten their entire ship behind Sarah Palin, would probably be less effective.
Well, but you know, Sarah Palin is a boogeyman for the people on the left, and I have no idea why. She's a powerful, well-spoken,
How so?
She was a governor at one point.
Yeah, she quit. What power does she have now?
Oh, so you're telling me the people like Al Gore? So you're telling me people like Al Gore don't have any power now?
What power does Al Gore wield politically?
Well, he wields a lot.
He does?
He's got these PACs and action committees and everything else. Just like Joni, not Joni Ernst.
Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin
I'm falling victim to it. All right, let's run the next commercial before Lefty and I have to go to a break and settle our differences.
I'm Bruce Braley, and I approve this message.
Take a closer look at Joni Ernst. In the state Senate, Ernst sponsored an amendment to outlaw abortion, even in cases of rape or incest. An Ernst bill would have banned many common forms of birth control. Ernst even wants criminal punishment for doctors who perform an abortion.
I think the providers should be punished if there were a personhood amendment.
Joni Ernst, radical ideas, wrong for Iowa.
All right. Now, I want to say that's a pretty emotional and effective commercial.
I would agree with you on that one, and you can tell when the campaigns are running this stuff, they're more professional. I think that they're not as slick in that their production isn't as overly produced to say the first one.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
But they're more to the point. They're more focused. And I think they're much more effective.
Yeah, and the bottom line is when you're talking about abortion, yes, this is a commercial that appeals directly to the Democratic base.
Yes,
and what Joni did for abortion, or for anti-abortion. Let me rephrase that. Thanks. Is really playing to her base. Mm-hmm. So you have a base trying to motivate. You have Bruce Braley trying to motivate its base through a fear tact over abortion.
There is. I mean, first of all, Democrats are going to go to the abortion well until it's dry.
Absolutely,
and that's always going to happen. Just the same way that the Republicans will go to the tax well until it's dry. Those are two areas that these parties are never going to stray away from. But I think that the ad speaks to more people than just the base. It speaks to independent, unmarried women who tend to vote Democratic way more than married women do.
Yeah,
married women tend to vote. I mean, women overall are still, there's like an 11-point gap or something in favor of the Democrats, but married women, that gap is a lot smaller.
Yes, I would agree. We're going to be back right after this break. We're going to review one more commercial. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to talk about the polls for the Senate race, and then we're going to get in the congressional races. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to visit our sponsors, BertroshanAssociates.com, LubinusLawFirm.com, Halo Capital at Des Moines InterestRates.com, and Des Moines Anesthesia. There's our phone number, 515-574-6442. And please follow us on all the social media. We'll be back right after this break.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Get away from us, you neat old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help, somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit! You're our hero!
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
Hey folks, how we doing so far? Well, I'm doing well. How are you doing so far?
I'm still mad about Obamacare.
I got them.
I'm red in the face. You can see. Either that, it's a new background.
5 years later. But, Republicans, you hold grudges forever.
Well, the thing is
we just get over it and get back to business around the country.
You do not. If you can, you do not. Lies. And so now, speaking of lies, we're going to go to, well...
Who knows if they're lies?
Yes,
we're not journalists here.
Yeah, we're going to go. My brother wrote in and had a very good point. Democratic Party wants to make all Republicans extremists. That's true. They made Mitt Romney, who is about as middle of the road as you're going to get, into an extremist. And if you can make him into an extremist, then holy cow, what can you do with Joni Ernst? And then the rest of it is. A lot of people are low information voters. We don't talk a lot on air about low information voters, but these are people that really don't participate in the process. They just kind of watch the commercials and base their decisions upon that. And that's why attack ads and going dirty work so well. Mm-hmm. And then the last one is Braley cannot or will not run on his own record. And that's why you see his attack ads. I have a lot of respect for my brother, but I'm going to disagree on that. I think that Braley can run quite effectively on his liberal record. Eastern Iowa is full of liberals. You have Cedar Rapids. You have the Quad Cities, which are union towns. You have Iowa City, which is a college town. Dubuque, and don't forget places like Newton. That's a union town.
Cedar Falls, Waterloo.
Yep. And out in Council
most
Bluffs,
of Polk County.
Most of Polk County. So I think that he can run effectively on his liberal record. Now, that brings us up to what the polls say. What the polls say is that the race is still neck and neck. It's basically 40% to 40%. Sometimes Joni leads, Senator Ernst leads, and sometimes it's Congressman Braley. The bottom line is that number shifts back and forth kind of depending on who they're talking to. But the bottom line is the 20% of the independents are still out there. And the bottom line is those independents are going to be watching, and they're going to look to see how Joni responds. She needs to get on the stick, start swinging. That's what she needs to do, metaphorically speaking.
Well, it is interesting that, well, first of all, she was very obviously, and I think the numbers are starting to point this out, very obviously the candidate that needed to come out of the Iowa primary. Absolutely, she was.
Absolutely.
And the fact that there was not as much support for her amongst a large segment of the Iowa population, of the Iowa Republican population, suggests that there's not as much energy as people thought for her, because she got a bump
from those commercials.
No, she got a bump from the convention, and then hasn't moved at all. Her campaign is basically stalled poll-wise. Now, Braley has hurt himself, which you never want to do.
Yes.
A couple of different times, and we don't need to go into it.
We've talked about it.
But the fact that she has not closed anything or even taken the lead appreciably is very interesting. And I checked 538 today, Nate Silver.
Yes.
Even though it's still a toss-up, they're giving Braley 55%.
Really? No kidding.
Which is wider than it was a little while ago.
Well, and Joe, my brother Joe sent me a statistic here. Rockwell Collins, their deductible went from what it was before, like $1,500 to $10,000. Premiums went up. These are the things that Joni Ernst needs to be hitting Braley on. Honestly, this race, as far as I'm concerned, when the Republican primary was over, in my opinion, it was then Joni's race to lose. All right, really, because she was so popular at that time. Their polling numbers among independents and moderates was really pretty good, and now we're settling back down.
You haven't heard much from her though, and she avoids interviews.
Yes,
she does. Like the plague.
Well, so does Bruce. They all avoid it. I mean, they get on to the stations that are friendly to them. They do.
Yeah, she doesn't even do that though.
Yeah, she does.
Have you seen anything from Ernst at all?
A couple of things. A couple that she'll call in.
Like more so than Mr. Braley?
But the problem is even though I'm on his email list, I don't get invited to the stuff that he does.
Well,
so I don't know.
Here's another thing to watch. Actually, I'm going to interrupt you here because this came to my mind. Here's another thing to watch. The last ever Harkin Steak Fry is coming up here in a week.
Yes.
Or less, or maybe it's even this weekend, I think.
That'll give him a big bump.
He'll get a huge bump, pass the torch. The Clintons are going to be there. I mean, you want to rally some Democrats and you want to bank some early votes. I think you're going to see him pop up maybe 2 points. It's getting close enough to election time that's not going to have a huge swing in the numbers. But I think he's going to get a lot of votes out, and I think that the Democratic machine is going to turn a lot of votes out for Bruce Braley. Although, man, I would not be surprised if she won. I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, because the western 2/3 of Iowa's really darn conservative.
Nobody lives there. And that's the big problem with Republicans in Iowa.
That is.
Your party has the entire western half of the state locked down, and it will never change unless there's some kind of seismic shift in how those districts are drawn, or the one district, I should say, is drawn, or people start moving there, because all the population centers are central and east Iowa.
Yep, and I agree with that. Now, we're going to watch the last commercial. Maddie, you have that ready to go? Let's watch this.
When families are struggling to make ends meet, they have to tighten their belts. That's what Iowans do. So why hasn't Washington? Bruce Braley supports massive spending bills that pushed our country into record debt. He even voted to protect trial lawyers, costing us billions. Is he looking out for Iowa or Washington special interests?
You might have a farmer from Iowa who never went to law school serving as the next chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee.
I think that was pretty effective. This one I've seen a lot.
Yeah, I've seen that one a lot too. But here's what I'll tell you. Americans for Prosperity is Karl Rove.
Yeah.
Karl Rove shouldn't be in politics anymore. He
Well,
really shouldn't be.
But that's still an effective commercial.
It's an effective looking commercial.
And it goes back to what we said. Bruce Braley shot himself in the foot with that.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not putting together a montage, why Joni Ernst's campaign isn't putting together a montage of all these things where Bruce Braley has hurt himself.
He said that thing. You never give your opponent locker room material.
Yeah.
But on the key facts of the ad, opposing tort reform has not cost anybody billions of dollars. It really hasn't. That's true.
It costs lawyers, or it costs doctors billions of dollars every year. 2% of
billions of dollars. Billions of dollars.
Yes, because we have $1 trillion industry. And if you take 2% of that, which is the direct cost of torts, and that's direct cost, not the indirect cost, but the direct cost, yeah, you're talking easily billions of dollars. You know?
What's 1% of $1 trillion?
I don't know, 100 million. I don't do math very well. It's my one weakness.
I'm just saying. The reason that tort reform.
Well, because a billion here and a billion there, pretty soon you're talking real money.
I'll tell you why tort reform is never going. Why the Republicans need to stop beating that drum. I'll tell you why. This is the absolute truth. It's easy to lay into lawyers about this kind of stuff. It really is. However, and Joe can back me up on it. You hate to hear about these plaintiffs' attorneys making millions of dollars off these poor people who are suffering, and in the abstract, making sure that damages are capped is because so many lawyers take contingent fees. That looks good on paper until you are in a civil jury and someone's lost an arm and can't work for the rest of their life because not because of any intentional act, but because of somebody's negligence. And you're looking that family in the face and you realize damage caps hurt plaintiffs. They hurt the parties. They don't hurt the lawyers. The lawyers are going to make their money regardless.
I got one response to that. That's James Sokolov, who personally adds billions of dollars to tort reform every year. We'll be back right after this break. We're going to be talking about the congressional races, and potentially Iowa could elect its first congresswoman or senator from Iowa. Mm-hmm. So we'll be back right after the break. We'll be talking about that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Visit our sponsors, Petrosian Associates, Lubinas Law Firm, Halo Capital, and Des Moines Anesthesia. Give them a call right there, 515-574-6442. Follow us on docandlefty.com, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and all kinds of other stuff Jen has coming up. Thanks, everybody, tuning in. We'll be back right after this break.
Bertroche and Associates will provide you with a friendly, caring, and confidential place to find help for mental health concerns. We are ready for your call. We are proud to work with military personnel and their families. Our doctor, Dr. J. Patrick Bertroche, provides a full range of psychiatric services for children, adolescents, and adults in a forthright and informative manner while maintaining a casual, comfortable, and relaxed atmosphere. Our licensed mental health therapists provide individual counseling to children, adolescents, and adults, including couples and marital counseling. Visit our website at bertrocheandassociates.com for more information or call 515-334-9484. Our offices are located at 5525 Meredith Drive in Des Moines, just east of Skate North off Merle Hay Road. Isn't it time to talk to someone? Take care of yourself and your family. Contact Bertroche and Associates.
Hey, how's it going? I think that my partner here is about to smack me across the mouth. I wasn't denigrating your concern, my friend. I was merely pointing out that those claims are a small portion.
Yes,
I know they hit you the hardest.
Yeah,
but they're a small portion.
But they add so much in defensive medicine costs to the cost of doing business as a doctor. The other thing is, to your point about it'll never get through Congress, it's very easy. One, trial lawyers are one of the biggest donors to the Democratic Party ever. And number two, most of the Congress, Senate and Congress, are lawyers.
I don't know that's true. I don't know if most of them are.
Yeah. Well, I'll look it up here. We're going to talk about the Senate race. Why don't you talk a little bit about Stacey Apple and David Young and see how they're doing against each other? I'll look this up.
Sure. Well, I mean, you got Stacey Apple, wife of Supreme Court Justice.
Apple.
Sure. Okay, I can't remember now. That's an idiot. I'm an idiot. Justice Apple and David Young, who had been originally in the Senate race and then after getting his footing came down and to run against her in the 3rd district. And it's hard to get a sense of these. There's no national polling really on congressional district races. There's no, there's a little bit, but not anything that is very current or up to the minute for our purposes here today. But I get the sense that that Congresswoman Apple has got a little bit of momentum behind her. Is that kind of your sense of it too? You don't see a lot of signs from either one of them, and I'm sure they're waiting for October to really start to put those out. But I'm always hearing a lot more about her events and what she's doing than I'm hearing about what David Young is doing.
Well, and that's true. And I've heard this exactly the same thing. And the problem is not a lot of people are giving to David Young. He couldn't raise money when he was running for Senate. He's not able to raise money now. A lot of conservatives are really pretty upset that essentially their choices got shafted. The two most conservative people running, Brad Zahn and Robert Kramer, were frozen out of the process. I believe Kramer came in second. I could be wrong about that. But the bottom line is it was a backdoor deal at the last minute between Young and Schultz had already been in trouble, and people are resentful about that. That's the feedback I get from a lot of my conservative friends. Don't get me wrong, David Young's a great guy, but he has one thing going for him. He's running in the most conservative district you can shake a stick at, besides Steve King's district. Keep in mind that Dallas County was the home base of Steve King for a long time. That was his anchor county. And now it's going to be David Young's county. The problem is Council Bluffs and that county over there offsets Dallas County.
Yep.
He's got to get out there and he's got to work. Now, he's got a lot of cute commercials. Cute commercials don't get you elected. The attack ads haven't really started in congressional races. They have a tendency not to start until October and build
late October even.
Yeah, late October.
They didn't hit our good friend Brad Zahn until 3 days before or something.
Well, they were hitting him pretty hard.
Well, the one that buried him was 3 or 4 days before the election. Yeah,
I agree with that. So the bottom line is not much is going on there. Over in the 1st district, that's pretty safe for Loebsack. I don't think.
Well, I mean, I was down when I was down at Ed Bull's tailgate party earlier or back in August. I was talking to him and I was talking to a few other people about that race. It was a political thing, and so they're feeling pretty good. But I mean, Marionette Miller Meeks is a 2-time loser. She's run against Loebsack twice and lost twice. I don't know. I feel like that's not a race that the Democrats probably going to lose.
Well, yeah, and I would agree. And Marionette Miller Meeks is really out there busting her butt, trying to make headway. Now, here's an interesting thing. Newt Gingrich ran 3 times before he got elected. So, there's always a chance. But the problem is they have Maquoketa. They have, what's that little town down there? I can't remember the town, but it's heavily Democratic. Iowa City's heavily Democratic, including all the Democrats that vote in 2 states in Iowa City. So, hopefully she'll really get it going. I don't know who's going. I can't remember the names of the people. Steve Rafferty is the Republican candidate over in the Cedar Rapids area.
In Braley's
in Braley's old district. And I don't know. I can't remember the Democrat's name.
Well, no, I thought, isn't Blum the guy that's running for Braley's seat?
Rod Blum. You're right.
Rob Blum is running for that seat,
right.
I think, right?
I don't know what I was thinking. Yep. That's
against,
right.
Oh man.
Yeah. Neither one of us can remember.
Is it Murphy?
Yeah.
Mike Murphy?
Yep.
Oh, well, yeah. Mike's going to clean up that race pretty easily.
And I think that's going to be possible over there, But basically, David Young's got to get off his butt. He's got to go out there. He's got to show somebody. It's the same problem as Joni Ernst has. Can't run a campaign on personality. Can't run a campaign on, geez, I'm the insider. Please vote for me. That's just not going to work that well for him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, this is what's so funny is that Bruce Braley is kind of running an incumbent sort of campaign. At least the Republicans are kind of running a campaign against an incumbent. That's their mindset. When you hear some of the strategists and the chairperson talk, I was listening to him on Public Radio the other day talking about how they're running against this incumbent congressperson, and he's not, right? He's not an incumbent senator. He's from the House, but Apple and Young is the insider in a district where the outsider is key. And what's so interesting is I mean, and maybe the Democrats are sitting on this and waiting until the later in the month in October to really get after it. But I have not seen very much groundswell behind the Democrats to elect the first woman to Congress. You heard a little bit of it with Joni Ernst. Hardly any with Marionette Miller Meeks. I'm wondering why that, you wouldn't expect, and I'll throw some shade here, you wouldn't expect the Republicans to get too rah-rah about a woman candidate. They just classically have never done that. You'd expect the Democrats to do a little bit more, and I'm wondering what's going on there.
Yeah, I really don't know. It's tough. The problem is it's tough for women to be candidates. It really is. They're held to a higher standard. We talk about this all the time. You talk about their hair, what they wore, and nothing of substance. And that's from the media. So, I think that Stacey Apple has an uphill fight, but I think if David doesn't get on the stick, there's a chance she's going to be the next congressman from the 3rd district. Or from the 3rd district.
And wouldn't that be interesting to have the congressional delegation flip back to the Democrats? And I kind of can't you see a situation where where independents that lean Republican but will vote for a Democrat go into that voting booth and say, you know what, I think we did pretty well having a Republican and Democratic senator. I'm not going to give Harkin's seat to a Republican. I can see that being.
I can see that too. Yep.
Swaying some of those voters.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, visiting our sponsors, and helping out our studio. Blake, you playing anywhere this week?
Not this week. I've got actually, yes, I am. now that I think about it, I've got a gig over at the Ducktail Lounge in Clive on Saturday, and then I'm playing a private show at Des Moines Golf Country Club on September 26th.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. I want to thank Maddie, our producer, who's done an excellent job of getting our commercials up there. Oh, you know what? We did listen to that last commercial, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, great. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, I'm Representative Tom Shaw, and I love these guys. Both of them.
Love these guys. Get over here. Get over here. Love both of them.